Okay, so if you're checking this out, the first question you might have is, hey, I'm looking around, I'm seeing me standing in the gym, in the middle of my gym. What kind of equipment am I gonna need? What kind of space am I gonna need? And what are the requirements to do this portion of the availability code? Well, you're in luck. You don't need any equipment at all. Nothing, zero, nothing. Nothing in here is required for you to do what I'm showing you here with controlled articular rotations. And as far as space goes, you need about as much space to turn around in a circle and maybe be able to get on the ground and move around a little bit, maybe even be able to stretch out from time to time. That's about it. So as tall as you are, as long as you aren't Wimby, I think you'll be all right. Even if you are Wimby, just find some space. Shout out to Wimby if you check this out. Highly doubt you do. But nobody in here is probably 7'3", so we're good. All right, so I just wanted to cover that before we go on to the next thing. Okay, so we covered the portion of the spine that's called linear segmentation for both your thoracic spine, your mid-back, and your lumbar spine, your low back, okay? Cover the cervical spine. Now, we're gonna tie this all up into the actual spinal car, again, controlled articular rotation, and the way you do a spinal car is putting all those actions together. Now, before I do the spinal car, I'm just gonna give you an idea of what the spine should be able to do that will be involved in a spine car. So the spine should be able to flex. If I bring my chest or my shoulders down, spine should be able to flex. That's all segments of the spine. That's your cervical spine, your thoracic spine, and your lumbar spine should all be able to flex if that's moving forward. Again, just like flexion at the hip is moving the knee forward, flexion of the spine is moving things forward towards the camera. It should be able to extend. So moving my shoulders back, kind of arching my back as people would describe this motion. Extension of the spine is a core or fundamental motion of the spine should be able to do as well. For all three sections, the spine should be able to laterally flex. So some will refer to this action, forward flexion, backward extension. These are lateral flexion actions. Some would say this is an extension on this side, flexion on this side, but we're not gonna go there. I will refer to these actions in the direction that I'm leaning my head towards. So this is to my right. This is called right lateral flexion. This is left lateral flexion. So that's forward. And then the last two are rotation. So notice my hips here. I'm not moving my entire body. What I want to do is keep my hips square to the camera or to a wall. And then I'm just going to rotate my spine here as I do this. Okay. So I'm going to rotate right, rotate left. A car for the spine is going to combine all of those. And because the spine is so important, so critical, and it's easy to kind of mess this up, I'm going to show you two different ways. I know I said I'm going to do everything standing, but I'm going to show you two different ways for the spine, one standing and one sitting. And again, no additional equipment really or special equipment is needed. All you really need is a chair that doesn't have restrictions to you actually turning and going through the rotational portion of a spine car. So I'll show you this just standing in full, going through slowly, talking you through it. Then I'll go through a couple for one direction and back. Again, a full car is one direction and then back to the start. And then I'll show you the next one in a sitting position just to kind of give you a better idea. So just like with the cervical spine, we're going to combine all actions together. We're going to come down, drop the chin to the chest, but this time, and actually let's start here. First thing, from a positioning standpoint, you're not going to do a spine car from this position. I like to do my spine cars hugging my shoulders, taking one arm, wrapping it as much as I can around the opposite shoulder, and then taking the opposite arm and wrapping this way. What that's going to do is it's going to prevent you from, again, like I showed when I was in the quadruped position, using your shoulder blades to fake spinal motion. So if I do a spine car like this, it automatically spreads my shoulders. And what I'm focusing on is trying to line my elbows up here and point it directly in front of me, get them in the center of my body. You may not have the shoulder mobility. Obviously, I was struggling a little bit, but that's the goal. So I'm going to try to get in this position first. Then I'm going to drop my neck down into my chest, and I'm going to slowly flex forward to start with as far as I can. Now, for me, this is a struggle for me. At this point in time, I got some things going on my thoracic spine, so I'll show you from the side kind of what I mean. Things to look out for are this. Get in this position. I say flex forward. What may happen is you start doing this. If you notice your butt going back, you're not actually moving in the spine, or you're not moving as much as you should be only in the spine. You're now involving your hips. You may even do this. See my knees bend, my hips bend, and my spine is still straight. Okay, so what I want to do is only round the back. Now to do this, again, just like everything else, you want to irradiate everywhere else. So if you stay stiff everywhere else, it'll help you control those compensation patterns. Big word. You're trying to move somewhere else other than your spine. So here we go. I'm going to run through. We're going to flex forward first, only in the spine as far as you can. That's about as much as I got. Then we're going to start to the right, and we're going to rotate from that flex position to the right as far as we can. You may feel a little pinching on this side here, like I do, and really on the side of your ribs. Then you're going to laterally flex to the right and extend back. When you extend, from here, you're going to kind of tuck. When you squeeze, when you start out in this flex position, I'm going to flex forward. At the same time, I'm tucking my hips. So that means you got to squeeze your butt cheeks, kind of tuck your tailbone under. Because when you flex, you want to tuck the tailbone to allow some flexion of the lumbar spine to happen. So here, wrap the shoulders, irradiate everywhere else. That automatically tucks my tailbone. I flex forward. I slowly rotate. I laterally flex. Now here, the difference is I want to let my tailbone arch back up almost to the back wall or to the sky as I extend. Now from this rotated position or from this extended position, I'm dropping my back shoulder, my back pocket. I'm going to rotate in that extension to the opposite side. Now this left shoulder's in my left pocket. Now from here, I'm going to tuck the tailbone, laterally flex, roll back forward in the forward flexion, and we're halfway there. So from this position, again, tuck that tailbone. I'm going to rotate back to the left. Feel that squeeze there. Laterally flex to the right. Now I'm going to arch the tailbone. Drop that left shoulder back in the left pocket. Rotate in that extended position. Then I'm going to tuck the tailbone, laterally flex, forward flex to the front, rotate back to the middle. Okay, I showed it from the side. I'm going to go a little quicker. Again, the cars are meant to be done in a controlled fashion, so it's supposed to be slow. Forward flex, rotate right, tuck the tailbone still, laterally flex. Now I'm going to arch the tailbone, extend back, rotate to the left, tuck the tailbone, laterally flex, forward flex, and roll back to the middle. Rotate left, laterally flex, arch the tailbone, drop the left shoulder, rotate, tuck the tailbone, laterally flex, forward flex, rotate back to the middle. All right, if you're like me, you feel a little popping sensation. You may feel a little cramping if you've never done this, really, especially with the rotations and the lateral flex. You're gonna feel some squeezes here, but in general, your back should feel pretty good in a lot of different areas, because what you just did was work everything in your back and really in your front, because all the muscles in the front are what pull you forward. Not necessarily just the superficial ones, the deep tissues that are actually connected with your spine are responsible for spinal movements like flexion. So that was the standing version of a car. Now I'm just gonna grab, I have a box here, but if you don't have a box, I'll use a chair. Just for example's sake, doing the same exact things. So if you don't have a box, I'm gonna do something like what most people do have, is a chair somewhere in the house, somewhere that you can find or borrow. If you got to, steal somebody's chair, just give it back to them. If you want to do this at work, you can do this at work. I do actually do this when I go in the office. Same idea though, I'm gonna wrap my arms, try to line my elbows up, point them directly, have them in the middle of my body, point them directly in front of me, and I'm gonna start out forward flexed. Again, try not to flex at the hip. Forward flex, round that back. Rotate right. Laterally flex right. I still want to tuck the tailbone. I should have started there, so let's start from the beginning. Tuck the tailbone. Flex forward. Rotate right. Laterally flex right. Arch the tailbone. Extend back. Drop that right shoulder in the back pocket. Rotate in that extended position. Laterally flex left. Squeeze and tuck the tailbone, flex forward and rotate back to the middle. And we're gonna reverse, rotate left, laterally flex left, drop that left shoulder in the back pocket, rotate in that extended position, laterally flex right, tuck the tailbone again, rotate back to the middle. Pretty easy. So there's two options for spinal cars. And again, the more you irradiate, so those are two options for spinal cars, and the more you irradiate, the slower you go and more deliberate you actually treat each of those actions. And each repetition, again, one repetition is one way and back. The slower you treat it, the more irradiation you actually drive, the more you're gonna feel that, the more benefits you get. So we'll go to the next one.